know?
No, I don't really know.
Okay, so we are here for your final match with Hector, who had won against Kyle in that top 4, versus Brian, who has managed to beat Riley, I think, twice now.
Yeah.
This round. So Riley
Beat him in Swiss, beat him in top 4.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, make sure to tell Riley practice with that timer, you guys. Like that is so important, and you know, it's gonna be super fun. Obviously, you know, Terry and I are super excited for this final. We're holding on to our Pokemon right now.
Yeah.
A little bit nervous to
I'm
see
so
what's happening.
nervous right now.
We've had such crazy matches, and now Hector and Brian, you know, Brian has had really strong finishes at local scenes. 18 was kind of a hard year for him, and you know, this is actually one of Hector's first big kind of like matches here. Both really good friends, both bringing the heat and the fire. And, you know, we're going to get into this final match right now. Like, Brian's got this, wow, Charizard, Cresselia, Landorus, Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Tapu Fini, whereas Hector has Charizard, Tapu Lele, Venusaur, Suicune, Greninja, and that Landorus therein. Woo!
Yeah, Brian's team is really reminiscent of some of the teams earlier when Intimidating Incineroar came out that tried to use Incineroar with the Charizard, with the Sun boosted, big damage Incineroar. Yeah, so I just want to see how like that Incineroar along with the Charizard serves a role. Because in 2015, I was told that Charizard Heatran was a very good duo. So maybe stacking a Fire type here has similar advantages.
Hey, you know what? And Brian's in the same train as that, where he's got that Charizard Incineroar on there, that heat wave, like that drought, really helping to boost the Flare Blitz from that side. But a little bit of a lead change from Hector that we saw that last round with Kyle, where he leads with Tapu Lele and Greninja as opposed to that Charizard. I respect that. That Psychic Terrain going to be, you know, blocking priority moves like Fake Out, which Incineroar is really kind of there to carry.
Yeah, like from what we've seen last game that Hector played, that Greninja has a move that will threaten both Charizard and Incineroar pretty significantly. At -1, it'll probably not KO the Charizard, but I think that's enough of a deterrent to be scared of like that option that Greninja has.
I mean, Rock Slide is it's a terrifying move. You know, not only do you have like that a lot of damage, there's always that chance to flinch. And Brian gonna start off this turn Mega Evolving that Charizard into that Charizard Y, bringing the heat into this field right now with that drought ability. I just really like making fire puns.
I mean, it is always sunny in California.
There you go. I thought that was Philadelphia.
Yeah, I know, but we are in California, so I'm just saying California, okay?
Greninja does go for that Rock Slide, gonna get that Protean, because the Protean gonna be switching into that Rock type, so gonna get that same type attack bonus as well. Connects obviously with that Incineroar, does massive damage. Does not connect with that Charizard because that Protect gets the critical hit on there. And Tapu Lele, obviously going for that Moonblast into that protected Charizard as the low kick from Brian goes to the Greninja. Super effective, not enough to get that knockout though.
Yeah, low kick is also based on weight, and Greninja doesn't look like the heaviest
Ninjas
Pokemon.
are gonna be light and sneaky.
Yeah, so, you know, even though it's super effective, not like lethal damage, so to speak. I think Lele here is really scary for Brian because, like, Greninja, I think now it's kind of done its job, but Lele's just going to hit really hard no matter what you switch into, Moonblast or Psychic.
And that Landorus is going to be getting another Intimidate into Hector's side of the field, so that Greninja going to be at -2 now as it goes for that Rock Slide. Charizard not going for a double Protect on this turn. It's kind of actually enough to survive it even with that quadruple weakness. And Charizard going for an Overheat as opposed to a Heat Wave on him in the sun is going to do a lot of damage to Lele, knocks it out, and does get that special attack -2 fall on there. That Intimidate really helping Brian on this side of the field. That Lele, you know, big threat, now is knocked out.
Wow. Brian knowing his calcs with this Charizard, I'm sure he has his own investments that he's familiar with, and he just memorized these numbers for Intimidate, -1, -2, and, you know, he just pulled off that play out of nowhere, and now suddenly Brian looks pretty favored from what I thought was a very bad lead matchup.
And Hector bringing in that Landorus to taking that spot of that Tapu Lele. So now we've got these two Landoruses staring each other down. So Brian's Landorus is at -1, where Hector's Landorus is still at neutral, but Greninja at -2. Charizard on Brian's side can be switched out for Amoonguss. So a really good switch can take those Rock Slides really nicely as Greninja goes for that Rock Slide one more time. I think for sure now we're going to say that it is a choice scarf Greninja on here. As Brian actually goes for, is that Brian's side? No, it's that Hector's. Oh, it is Brian's side. Goes for Ground DMZ.
So many Ground DMZ Landorus is this tournament. What is this local meta?
Everybody likes to, we like to share tectonic rages. Which
Who
is
could
fun.
be responsible for popularizing tectonic rage Landers? Oh my god.
And it does go into that Greninja slot. Going to be picking up that knockout very easily on there as Hector's, Landers is just kind of chilling out here now.
Yeah, Lander's kind of just sitting there. Like, there's worse things to do than like just sitting there, but that knockoff really, well, yeah, that didn't really do anything per se, but now that Brian's set is revealed to Hector, I think Hector will be able to play differently in later games.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're at a deficit in game one, then you start using that to fish for information, because information is what helps you set up for games two and possibly three if you're in that spot. So Hector going out for that Charizard, for his own Charizard actually, so not Mega Evolving here. It's going to be the last one on the field. This Amoonguss though has a lot of options as well.
Yeah. At first glance, Amoonguss is not really something you want to have in front of a Charizard, but depending on the investment, maybe it can survive a Heat Wave after spread damage. Whereas for Landorus, it's most likely slower than the Charizard, so again, like, there might be some defensive plays coming from Brian.
Right, and Hector going to be Mega Evolving his own Charizard on this turn. Going to take advantage of the sun that's already been out from Brian's Mega Charizard Y, as the Heat Wave connects with both Pokemon here. Going to be boosted by that sun once more. Amoonguss barely holding on, has that 13 HP left, will be munching down on its berry. Going to be getting all that health back. It is a tough mushroom. And it's going to be back in the green now as Landorus goes for the knockoff on it. A little bit too little too late there. That berry has already been consumed. But Spore from Brian's Amoonguss connecting with Hector's Charizard, going to be causing it to fall asleep for the next couple of turns possibly.
Yeah, I thought Brian might play more defensively, but I guess that's not really good given the style of his team and the way how his Incineroar was already damaged by the Rock Slide from the turn 1 lead. So, I don't know. Amoonguss showing why it was a world champion, living fire-type hits that are very strong, and putting things to sleep.
Yeah, and that's what Amoonguss is supposed to do. But now that Incineroar once more on the field on Brian's side is going to be putting that Landorus at -1 and that Charizard at -1. A little bit more important, obviously, on that Landorus on Hector's side of the field. Going to have to hope for that turn 1 wake-up. And Brian switching out that Amoonguss for his own Charizard. Already like at pretty low health here, but probably can take a little bit more damage as the fake out from Brian's Incineroar connects with that Landorus because it is not touching that sagging terrain as Charizard stays asleep for this turn and the sunlight fades. Oh, and Misty Train disappears.
With all field effects cleared, now Brian has to really think hard about what kind of play he can really make here, because all the Pokemon are like so low on health. Even with all the field effects that are taken off, it's still a not very good spot for Brian, I have to say.
I think if Brian can get rid of that Charizard, he'll be fine because the regenerator ability on Amoonguss is going to give it a little bit more health.
Yeah.
And this Amoonguss is going to be hitting that field once more. Is a little bit more in that green now. Charizard protecting itself on Brian's side of the field now. Probably going to hope to Spore. But the Charizard on Hector's side wakes up on this turn, connects the Heat Wave onto that Amoonguss. Doesn't connect with that protecting Charizard. Oh, almost knocks out the Amoonguss, but
the Rock Slide likely finishes that off.
Yeah, Hector rounding out this turn with that Rock Slide does pick up the knockout on that Amoonguss. Not quite that Charizard, but now we've got this Charizard and this Incineroar in the back. It is actually going to be now at -2 on that Landorus and on that Charizard.
Yeah, I don't think the stat drops on Landorus matter anymore because both Rock Slide targets are very low. So even at -3, I feel like the Rock Slide here would either put them at red or outright KO them.
But I mean, Brian still has an opportunity to kind of fake out something if he wants, or he's gonna have to make some really hard choices here. There's no more sun for 3 of the 4 types, 3 of the 4 months on the field to take advantage of.
I think at this point, Brian is trying to think of his best out while thinking of what to do in game 2 and potentially 3.
And so the Heat Wave on the Charizard from Hector's side does go first. Doesn't quite pick up the knockout on either of Brian's Pokemon. As Overheat for Brian's Charizard connects with the Landorus, doesn't pick up the knockout, and does get the special attack drop. So Brian's still in a really tough place, not getting any damage on that Charizard.
Yeah, I think the way the 4 that Hector brought.
Oh, that is a speed tie right there.
Yeah, it is, right?
Oh man, yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my god, that's stressful.
Oh my god, that took me by surprise.
Yeah. Oh wow. So this turn, Brian's Charizard went first. Does manage to get the knockout now on both of Brian's Pokemon, but last turn Hector's Charizard went first, and that is something I'm gonna have to really consider going into that game too.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Wow. I know they're quite close to each other, so maybe there's a possibility of them sharing similar Charizard spreads.
What's really funny is, you know, you mentioned that Hector had gotten this team from Alan. Alan, Brian, and Hector all like really good friends. They're like they're part of the circle of like some local players who all team build together. So I mean, it is very possible that they actually have the same exact Charizard spread, and now you have this added pressure of I have to win speed ties when it matters.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the hard part here for them, I think. I think was Brian carrying both Heat Wave and Overheat? Did we see that right there?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, I mean, game one, you know, going to Hector, that was a lot closer than I think either of them wanted. That turn two wake up on that sleeping Charizard really hurt Brian, obviously. Because he brought in that Amoonguss at a good point and was going to be able to spore that Landorus to sleep. It just that RNG against him.
Yeah, but you know, when you're using Landorus against the Charizard, you kind of just have to cross your fingers and hope for the best. And you know, sometimes even if that doesn't happen, I don't think it was really a good matchup for Brian in that situation. Anyways, I think what I would like Brian to do is maybe mix up his lead so that it's less vulnerable to Rock Slide. Maybe lead Charizard, Landorus, and have Incineroar in the back. That way, he can get Greninja to a -2 on turn 1 as he switches Incineroar for Landorus for Incineroar, and take significantly less damage from Rock Slide while tanking up all the Heat Waves.
I also think, though, you can't discount the fact that Fake Out is such a nice move to have on there. And I mean, even though the Hector has that Tapu Lele to bring in that you know, the terrain to stop it, it's not something you can really discount and say, hey, you know, the Intimidate is more valuable over the Fake Out or vice versa. Especially because Hector has 2 Pokemon that can be touched by that Fake Out.
Yeah, and also the Lele really puts a wrench in the Fake Out plans. So I'm really excited to see what Brian is going to do. He's proven himself to be a very patient player over the past year or so that he's been playing.
Yeah, patient to the point where that timer is still hurting him. So I think if this game drags on, you know, Brian's gonna have to really pay attention to his own timer. We didn't see that obviously in that first match because that went fast.
Yeah.
But it is something that I know Brian has trouble with as well. And something that, you know, he's a patient player, like you said, but it has hurt him before.
Yeah, and you know, he's been trying to find his way through that timer change and perhaps even the meta. Because from personal experience, I felt similar about the beginning of this format. So, you know, I just find myself rooting for these guys because they've been trying so hard, and here's their moment, doing well at locals, and you know, this is a start to better things. I'm really happy for both.
And so Brian, changing up his lead a little bit, I'm actually really happy about him on the Tapu Fini. I was hoping to see it in this round.
Yeah.
So Tapu Fini and Incineroar on Brian's side as Tapu Lele and Greninja once more. But because Tapu Fini is slower than that Tapu Lele, it does get the dominant terrain on there, leaving Brian free to kind of just Fake Out.
Yeah. I definitely expected Hector to bring the same setup because I feel like he was very certain about Greninja's ability to check Charizard. And you know, the Lele stopping Fake Out is pretty good, I would say.
And so Greninja being switched out for Charizard on Hector's side as Amoonguss comes in for Tapu Fini on Brian's side. Tapu Lele going for the taunt onto the Amoonguss, not going to be able to use Rage Powder later on as Incineroar goes for the Flare Blitz, going straight into that Tapu Lele slot, going to get a little bit, some massive recoil damage on, recoil damage on there, but gets that Tapu Lele down to the yellow. So both players kind of getting their Pokemon in for free, but now that Amoonguss is taunted,
it'll probably prompt a switch, perhaps to Incineroar.
Oh, Incineroar's already...
I mean, not Incineroar. Maybe, actually, I'm not sure. I guess Beanie's okay, but depending on what he has as the 4th Pokemon, maybe that is a better switch in.
I'm also not sure if Hector's Charizard has, I think it has Solar Beam. I'm not 100% sure if that was the Charizard that we've seen earlier. All the matches are starting to blur together for me.
I think it's reasonable to assume that there's Solar Beam on a Charizard set.
No, it was because it was the one against Kyle. So it does have Solar Beam on there, and I'm not sure if Brian's aware of that. But he does push that Amoonguss out for that Tapu Fini. So if Hector decides to, you know, make that call and go for that Mega Evolution right here, bring in the sun and bringing out that Solar Beam, that's going to punish Brian real hard. That
would be a really cool hard read to make here, but it is also very risky. Big payoffs, but, you know, also that big possibility of a whiff. Let's see how this goes.
And actually goes for the Heat Wave instead. Hector's Charizard are going to be connected with both Pokemon here. Neither one of them are going to be able to get burned because of the fact that they are on terrain. But Hector now showing that Psyche MZ again, even outside of terrain. Tapu Lele is such a scary Pokemon with that Psyche.
That is going to be really close. I have a feeling that that Feeny is going to survive it, but
sometimes chip damage is enough even outside
yeah,
of that turn.
yeah, it's going to be really close. I can't really say.
So it's Tapu versus Tapu as this psychic, as a Shadow Psychic connects with Tapu Fini, and it is actually barely enough to hold on at 2 HP.
Hey, I was right.
Very nice. I like that, you know, that chip damage is so important sometimes. And Flare Blitz in the boosted sun now does a lot of damage on there. I think that's just,
it was just sun boosted?
It's just sun boosted.
Dude, that's so much big damage. Look at that.
Yeah, that Incineroar is here to take names.
That must be like maximum attack. That was a lot of damage.
That was kind of crazy there.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the thing about sun sometimes.
It boosts your opponent's fire type Pokemon. Yeah, that's true. But I think it's not like all like unfavored doom and gloom for Hector, because I think what Hector's trying to do is pushing the offensive mileage on his team as much as possible, because Brian is the one reacting to Hector. So I think Hector has that luxury of being able to continue attacking and being proactive, and maybe getting that RNG in his favor before his offensive Pokemon are knocked out and he gets free switch-ins to continue the offensive game.
Alright, and so Charizard using Heat Wave doesn't quite knock out either Pokemon, but Tapu Lele cleaning up that Incineroar with Moonblast as Tapu Fini goes for a Calm Mind, sitting at 45 health right now. And Charizard on Brian's side coming in, not Mega Evolved yet. We do notice also a Mega Charizard Y.
Yeah. So Feeny is low and outsped by both opponents, so you know, this is a difficult turn for Feeny. I feel like it's pretty reasonable for Charizard to go for Heat Wave. So I think Feeny here would like to protect. But obviously Hector is the one with the Pokemon advantage, so we'll see how this actually pans out, because I don't actually think playing that derivative is a good idea against a very varied team like Hector's.
And Charizard on Brian's side going to Mega Evolve into that Y-Berry that we did see as Tapu Fini protects, and Charizard avoiding the attack on Hector's side of the field, but is enough to pick up the knockout on Tapu Lele.
Yeah, I think landing on Lele was pretty major.
Yeah, and so Charizard on Hector's side lands onto the Charizard on Brian's side. This speed tie is getting really stress-like for both players.
Yeah.
It's also getting confusing for yours truly.
Definitely.
But Hector going to be having to show that Landorus now going to be, that Rock Slide is really frustrating and annoying for the Charizard on Brian's side. We do know at -2 that this Charizard survives it, but there is enough chip damage that a Rock Slide would knock it out.
Yeah, I believe at -2 that would still be knockout range. But I guess Feeny would want to get the berry recovery, because
it's already used.
Oh wait, I already used it, right? Never mind. Because I thought the number 45 was right off the berry range, but yeah, never mind. I think Feeny here doesn't really have anything it can do anymore, so maybe it's better for Brian to let it go.
Alright, and Charizard on Brian's side winning this speed tie off this turn, gets the knockout on Hector's Charizard, and a critical hit on the Landorus on Hector's side. There's still a possibility for a bird, of course, because of, you know, because Landorus isn't touching the train, but that Rock Slide gets the knockout on Charizard on Brian's side, and now it is up to this Tapu Fini to see what's going to happen with it. Is able to use Muddy Water, connects, and is going to actually it should knock it out, and even in the sun. Yeah, so you know that Calm Mind from earlier really boosting that special attack for that Tapu Fini and helping it as the mist disappears from this field, and now it's a 2 versus 1 situation.
Wow.
That definitely turned it around.
Yeah, speed ties made this really unpredictable.
Speed ties are stressful, but this Greninja is also choice. Scarf. Oh, but there's an Amogus here, so oh dear.
Yeah, I guess this is kinda weird. Do you just conserve your Feeny and try to spore the Greninja, or?
I mean, I think if you're Brian, you just go for the attack there, because you know if you're assuming this Greninja is a choice, the Scarf, then you're gonna take damage no matter what, right? Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right. You preserve your Tapu Fini. It goes for the protect here. We're gonna see what this Greninja does. It goes for the Rock Slide and has to retain.
I think Rock Slide is very reasonable given the possibility of Rage Powder. But if the Amoonguss does not flinch and lands the Spore, then that would put Greninja in the KO range with the Tapu Fini.
And there you go, yeah, so there you go. Spore connects with that Greninja, gonna take a sleep turn, leaving Tapu Fini kind of free to just go after this Greninja, and because the sunlight has faded,
Bonus damage.
Right, yeah, like that Tapu Fini is gonna be able to, one, get that super effective attack against on that rock typing, and two, oh, yeah, there you go, Hector forfeiting this match. Not much he can really do against Brian's team at that last moment. Man, we've had so many game threes. This is so crazy.
Yeah, it's because, you know, like, SoCal has a lot of passionate, driven players, and they're always trying to improve their game. So I think it's very competitive, and it really shows in the closest of the games of the players.
Well, what I love too is that they're very good about like adjusting their their leads in match 2 to give them that advantage, and kind of forcing that game 3, which, you know, really shows that you understand what your opponent was going to do and what you have to do to counter it. So, you know, I think it's hard because Hector, we had seen that Venusaur earlier do such good things, but in this against Brian's team, it's not really able to do much. I think maybe that Suicune, we haven't seen it quite yet, might have
Suicune might work. My question though is, will Hector lead Lele Greninja again? Because maybe he thinks if I didn't lose as many speed ties, I could have won.
I honestly think that the Greninja Lele lead isn't that bad of a lead because it has his Greninja outspeeding a lot of things on Brian's side of the field. It has a lot of options to just deal out damage as necessary.
Right.
And, you know, if you're Hector, I think maybe the Lele for later, just because that Psyche MC on terrain is so important. Like, we saw that Tapu Fini survive outside of terrain. If that had been in terrain,
then it would have been knocked out.
Yeah,
yes,
it would have been
sure.
definitely knocked out.
Oh, Brian already selected his 4.
Yeah, and so Brian just, you know, with a little bit over half a minute left, locking in as Hector's taking his time. This is a pretty important match. You know, you're pushing into game 3 after them playing, you know, the Swiss and their top cut matches.
I like what Hector is doing. He's taking his time and he's trying to use as much resources as he needs. Like, that's how you come up with the game plans that will let you make the right adaptations and win the game 3 to win the set. So good for him. I'm excited to see what they bring because I have a feeling that both players will try to mix it up.
I really hope so. I'm really hoping for that Suicune to make an appearance here on the field at one point. And Hector actually sending out Greninja and Charizard. So kind of reminiscent of the leads that we had seen him use against Kyle, as Brian goes back to his game 1 leads with that Incineroar and Charizard as well.
If Lele's in the back, this might be kind of weird for Brian because now Brian has to play around the possibility of Lele being in the back, switching into the Charizard slot. That way, the fake out becomes negated, and then Greninja will rock slide and Oko the Charizard.
Oh yeah, you know that's a next level play that I actually.
That's something that Hector will have to
really consider.
Yeah, I think it's a very strong play because even if Brian doesn't play into it, he will have to switch. So the initiative, the offensive capabilities are on Hector. Hector is the one that has the ability to ask the questions. Hey, can your Pokemon take these hits? And, you know,
this is, I think, what's about to happen. Yep, so there you go.
Yeah,
Good
there it
call
is.
on that. That Charizard being switched out on Hector's side, getting that Tapu Lele into the field. So all the Pokemon touching the ground right now, including that Tapu Lele and their Greninja, will not be touched by Fake Out. As Charizard on Brian's side, going to be Mega Evolving into that Y variant, once more bringing that Sun. And I think maybe Brian, having seen that, might have just been gone for straight, like, Fire-type moves now that the Sun is out.
Yeah.
You know?
I would like a Protect from the Charizard and then a Flare Blitz onto the Lele.
Hey, there you are. So Brian protecting his Charizard on this turn, and we're gonna see what this. So Greninja rock sliding, not gonna be connecting obviously with that Charizard because it's behind the Protect. Gonna do super effective damage onto this Incineroar. It did not go for Fake Out.
Does it flinch?
So, oh, did you? Nope, goes for Flare Blitz. Does it go into that Tapu Lele?
Is that a read?
Terry, are you reading this?
Is that a read?
You are! Nice job, Terry.
That's
oh
a
my gosh,
read.
very, very nice job. Gets that
yeah.
knockout. Terry just called that entire turn, and that was very, very good job. So does. Yeah,
sorry, I was too loud.
We're streaming our finals. And so that Tapu Lele getting knocked out from that Flare Blitz and that boosted. Very nice call on that. That was fantastic. That was fantastic and amazing.
Well played by Brian, because if I was in his position, I would have been too scared to do that. That was a very risky play, and honestly, good for him. That was really cool to watch.
And I think he understood that was Hector's like really only way out to stop that Fake Out. But now Hector bringing in that lane rush, going to intimidate that Incineroar and that Charizard. So Incineroar's Flare Blitz not going to be doing as much because of that -1 stage of attack, but that Sun's still going to help it out a little bit.
We will probably see a switch from Brian's side. Some kind of
Who
readjustment.
are you, Terry? All right, switching out from that Tapu Fini, so going to bring in that Misty terrain as opposed to the Psychic terrain. So Tapu Lele, you know.
I like this reposition. This is Oh yeah, double switch.
Double switch.
Landorus in the back maybe.
Amoonguss,
That's
actually.
great too. That's totally great too.
Well, that's nice because now Brian has the ability to, later on do that in that fake out because there's no more psychic terrain. Rock Slide connecting with both Pokemon, no flinches because it is. Oh man, these
Double Rock Slide.
Oh man, we're playing this game, guys.
This is the game we play.
Amoonguss did avoid it, but no flinches obviously because both of these Pokemon have switched in now.
Honestly, we kind of joked about that double Rock Slide, but I doubt we'll see it again. Purely because now with the Feeny, it's not really worth the opportunity cost.
Right. And I think it's just hard because sometimes double Rock Slide is your only out.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too early for that to be the case though.
This is fair.
This is too stable as a board state. Even though Hector is slightly behind, the board is very much even. Like there isn't a one-sided situation that requires a switch. Right now, both of them are not really threatening each other majorly enough. So I'd like to see what kind of variations they come up with.
And Hector's actually going to start this turn by switching out the Greninja for the Charizard, which is his last Pokemon on here, as Landorus goes for the Earthquake, not connecting with that Charizard obviously because it is a flying type, but connects with both Tapu Fini and Amoonguss, gets them both to under half health. Calm Mind from Tapu Fini going to increase that special attack and that special defense, going to make that Muddy Water that we saw earlier carrying a really scary attack to connect with both of these Pokemon. As Amoonguss goes for the Sport, it is free to do that because both of these Pokemon are in the air. That Landorus is going to be asleep, unable to Rock Slide later on, or Earthquake. Is that Solar Power? Oh, that's right, because it didn't get a chance to Mega Evolve yet.
Oh,
yeah. It just switched in. I don't know, I was surprised by this. That's rough.
Solar Power is cool. I never considered that before.
You know what's rough, though? I think that might haunt Hector back later, because that is chip damage against him.
Yeah, that's like...
That's Life Orb chip damage.
Oh, yeah, it is. Does that mean that -2, there's a chance for him to get knocked out regardless? That's a good point.
I
would not want to find out about that.
If I'm Hector, I don't want to know.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't want to know. Oh my god.
And Amoonguss is going to be switched out on Brian's side, going to get that regenerative ability, going to give it a little bit of health as Incineroar intimidates both Pokemon on Hector's side of the field. A little bit more important again on that Landorus, as Charizard Y on Hector's side going to finally take its place as that Mega.
I'm not sure if a potential Solar Beam will be able to knock out Feeny. Because actually the damage is kind of accumulating. If Charizard Solar Beams, I feel like at +1 this would still be very close to knocking out.
Well, Hector actually going for that Heat Wave into both slots. Tapu Fini protecting himself, and Incineroar a little bit in the red right now, but Brian now has the option to fake out this Charizard.
Yeah, and that honestly will be a lifesaver because Landorus will not be able to knock out Tapu Fini with the Earthquake, barring a critical hit. So I think that's like the default line of play that you go with because it's too good.
Alright, and Incineroar going for that fake out on this turn, goes into that Charizard, gonna keep it from moving on this turn. But the Landorus wakes up, gets the Earthquake, it does connect with that Incineroar, it's gonna be knocking it out. But I think, that Incineroar is okay.
That is exactly the health value that will activate it.
Yeah, and so this Tapu Fini at 44 health. How you know your calculations? I appreciate.
I ran that all season last year.
Tapu Fini eating that berry, getting that health back. Landorus avoiding the attack though on Hector's side, but does connect with that Charizard. It is already at +1, does not do any damage because of that sun. If it had been one more turn.
Yeah, Muddy Water. That's unfortunate from Brian. Muddy Water makes people cry. It's just. It misses too often,
Muddy Water has those misses, not the accuracy drops that it needs.
But Hector has a Charizard out there right now with Sun gone. So he will need to reposition unless he has a different way to threaten the Feeny.
And Amoonguss is back on the field, getting that back in the green now because of that regenerator ability. And Tapu Fini is not going to be afraid of any Solar Beam from that Charizard because Sun's gone.
Yeah.
You're going to need 2 turns now for that Solar Beam.
I feel like if Hector's Landorus has U-turn, then he might be able to switch out the Charizard and U-turn out for an instant kind of repositioning.
But Charizard on Hector's side also carrying Overheat, going into that Amoonguss slot.
Does that KO? Yeah, it does. Oh my god.
Mean, that chip damage from earlier is going to be enough to knock out that Amoonguss. Does take the special attack drop, but Amoonguss is now gone as Landorus goes for Rock Slide, single target onto the Tapu Fini. That's already in the green. So now we're going to, cross your fingers at your Brian. Muddy Water connects with both Pokemon outside of Sun. It is at +1 because of that Calm Mind. He's going to knock out that Charizard, gets the Landorus to half health.
Yeah, and now there's no more Sun coming from Hector because his Sunsetter has just fainted. So
but Brian's bringing the Sun back.
That's true, but I feel like with the way Landorus has been sitting there for a bit, Landorus is far from like the team's issue. It's the Greninja right now.
All right, I think this is gonna be decided.
You know, we talked about double rock slide. I think this is the time.
This is the time for double rock slide.
I think this is double rock slide right here.
That Landorus isn't quite low enough to not be able to knock out that Charizard. So this Charizard I think is gonna go down after this one rock slide, and I think it's possible for Hector to kind of just go after this Tapu Fini after that Charizard. Like, it's hard because Brian has now crippled his Tapu Fini.
Yeah. I still think Tapu Fini should be able to clean up if it doesn't flinch all the time, but, you know, that's... Oh, what?
Oh, goes for Gunk Shot.
Oh, no.
Also a stressful type of move. So Gunk Shot gonna be making it into a poison type. It did not miss, and it's
Is this man Gavin Michaels? He lands his Gunk Shot. 100% accurate Gunk Shot on stream. This man is a madman.
That poison typing does knock out that Tapu Fini, and this Charizard behind this Protect. Even with the double Protect, isn't gonna be quite enough to, you know, stall out any sort of stun here. I mean, unless. Maybe.
Overheat onto Landorus, maybe?
Maybe.
I can't think of anything else because Greninja is locked into Gunk Shot.
So, okay, so Greninja going for that Gunk Shot. Also connects on this turn.
So you take it, because next turn I might miss. Oh, what?
Massive damage, gets it down to 29 HP. Charizard goes for the overheat in the sun to that Landorus slot. Not quite. Oh, no,
oh yeah, that gets it. That gets it.
So, you know, I think that is still game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Gunk Shot misses next turn. If Gunk Shot misses next turn...
If Gunk Shot misses twice next turn, I think Brian has a shot. But
he's at -2 right now on a special attack.
Yeah.
So it'll come down to the accuracy of Gunk Shot, and...
The double miss is a 9% chance, and it's 30% for just one miss.
This Gunk Shot, and it connects. Oh,
he hits all three. He hits all three. Oh my god.
Side gets 3 for 3 on that Gunk Shot. So, that is
such a close set. Such a good set.
So that was really good.
Oh my god.
So congratulations to Hector for winning that PC.
Well played to both players, but wow, congrats.
That was stressful. That was crazy.
Oh man. When there's a rock, there's a way.
Yeah, but there's a rock side. Where there's a Gunk Shot, there's a way.
Yeah.
So make sure you're on stream when you're going for those Gunk Shots, because apparently that's the only time they'll connect,
unless you're unlucky. I don't know.
But you know, both of these players are going to be going to Salt Lake City, so we'll see them next week. Hopefully, get some good finishes from them.
We'll see them make waves at nearby regionals. So if you are watching the stream, watch out.
So you know, congratulations to both of them. Hard-earned victory for Hector, going to Game 3s in most of his top matches. But also for Brian, he did his best on there too. So really good job for both of them. It came down to the wire. There was never any point where either of them were in a comfortable position to say, "I won this." It didn't happen until that last 2 turns.
I'm so happy for both players. They have been working so hard to get themselves better results in, well, locals, regionals, just everything. And now it's finally paying dividends, it's finally working. So now that they're in finals, having a great set, I'm just so happy for them.
Yeah. All right, so thank you guys for joining us for Swiss and for Top Cut. For one last time, I'm Regina.
I'm Terry.
And we will see you guys later. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening, guys.